At this point, it's time to stop. It's time to stop this show, this programming, this special product of Saturday Night Main Event. It's atrocious, it's predictable, it's bland, and it is incredibly boring. Now, obviously, I predicted for this second edition of Saturday Night Main Event to be bad, but I actually, after the first match, which we're going to get to that in a second, that first match with Rhea and Nia Jax was great. After that match, I actually had my hopes up. I was like, wow, this might actually be kind of decent. But then everything got progressively worse, segment by segment, match by match, as it continued to go forward. So you basically have that. And again, like I keep saying, what is the point of trying to make Saturday Night Main Event feel special by only having it happen like 4 or 5 times in a year span? Why are you making it happen every once in a while, making it feel special and rare if we're going to get bland and predictable generic content, man? What's the point? What's the point of watching something that I already know what's going to happen with it? We know that every single match on this card was predictable. At this point, you're just looking for entertainment, and you can't even get that. But you can get a bunch of ads and awful, boring matches, and this crowd in San Antonio was just mid. It was a mid crowd, absolutely mid. Very bland booking as decisions as well, very safe booking decisions, just very disappointing from top to bottom. But anyways, let's talk about the first match. Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. This was great. I am actually glad to say that, the first Rhea Ripley championship reign, the world title reign she had before she got injured and had to relinquish, the reign, in my opinion, was garbage. Because number one, there wasn't any valid opponents to face, and Rhea didn't do anything on the mic or with her storytelling to actually build any feuds, or even in the ring to really build any good matches. So that was kind of that. But this championship reign so far, I would say, has been solid, because this match with Nia Jax was great. It was entertaining from start to finish. It had great action. It was action-packed, of course, and I thought the actual in-ring display from both women was amazing. Nia Jax was doing good moves, a top rope leg drop, her Samoan drop, her pop-up headbutt now that she's added into her repertoire, you know what I'm saying? Rhea Ripley had a really sick Code Red moment where she hit the Code Red. It was really good. Michael Cole did a great call on that. Rhea did like a springboard DDT, a drop kick. She was using like a more arsenal that we're, now gonna have to start seeing. Because obviously, when you wrestle like 5 matches in a year and a half, no one sees your moves. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't wrestle, so obviously we're not gonna see these moves. But it's refreshing to see this stuff, see her athleticism and her in-ring prowess go at it. This is easily, so far this year, we're only like a month in, dang near, right? But this is the best and my favorite women's match of the year so far. I had a ton of fun with this. I thought it was extremely entertaining. And even though we knew Rhea was gonna win, at least they did a good job of at least giving her some adversity. And then also the in-ring work rate was good, so you stayed entertained and intrigued the entire time. That's all we're asking for. If the show's going to be extremely and overtly predictable, at least make us think that the other person is going to win. At least give us great in-ring work and good booking to kind of, blur the lines of what we think is going to happen and what's actually going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And this match, I thought did a very solid job of that. In-ring work was great. And Rhea Ripley has finally tried to beat the allegations, bro, of her, number one, not being a fighting champion. And number two, the fact that she took back a title that she never lost. Yeah, she finally took back her title, and she's fighting with it, man. She's going to try and make this reign great, it looks like, and she's off to a great start. Amazing match to start the show. After this point, I thought that things were just only going to get up from here, and they started to dip down a little bit. Sheamus versus Braun Breaker. I thought that this match was actually going to be a banger after banger after banger. I got burger after burger after burger, and I can't stop thinking about Punk, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, Drew McIntyre, sorry, I can't stop thinking about Punk. Anyways, Drew McIntyre, wait, I just messed up again, my bad, I can't stop thinking about Punk. Sheamus versus Braun Breaker. This match actually, I thought was pretty entertaining. However, it wasn't a great match. Now, the thing is with this matchup is this, right? We've seen Sheamus versus Braun Breaker multiple times at this point, and obviously, Sheamus versus Braun Breaker on Raw, like I think it was a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, whenever the last time it was that Braun Breaker wrestled, because he ain't wrestling often, that match was really good. I thought it was honestly borderline on being great, one of the better Raw matches of last year as a whole. However, this match, for some odd reason, they decided to do this weird dynamic where Sheamus basically has his ribs injured the whole match, but is still able to capably, do moves as much as he wants. But then randomly his ribs just stop working and they just start hurting again. And then he can't hit the bro kick to close the match out. Very, very weird and inconsistent booking that dropped this down a little bit. Plus, with all the ads ads and stuff like that take place during these matches, it was just it was very annoying, kind of boring, right? It's expected if you give us ads on Raw, but when you're giving us this many ads on a special programming like Saturday Night Main Event, it was just kind of meh, so that was that. Sheamus basically, he had a couple good moves in this match. I thought that he did, the 10 beats of the Bower, and he did that, and he lifted Braun Breaker up from the ropes and hit the high cross. That was a really, really cool spot. And then Braun Breaker hit this amazing, nasty spear on Sheamus as Sheamus was running off the steps to hit like an axe handle, it looked like, and Braun Breaker caught him with a spear. Sheamus's head, I kid you not, was maybe like a few inches away from slapping off of the bottom of those steps. This dude could have easily had a concussion or a hurt neck or something happened to his spinal cord. Like, it was a very dangerous spot, but they perfected it, and it looked very brutal. It was really, really good spot. Obviously the physicality here was really good. Sheamus ultimately had a moment where you thought for a second he was going to win, but you didn't really believe that he was going to, but you kind of thought it a little bit, so I'll give him that for the booking. And then obviously Sheamus hit a bro kick. He rolls Braun Breaker over to the rope, and for some reason, just like Rollins on the January 6th Raw Netflix premiere thing, for some reason, these veterans of the industry are rolling their opponent over to the rope and leaving their leg exposed so they can put their leg on the rope and get away from the 3 count. It's very ridiculous. I don't understand this style of booking. I thought it was dumb and nonsensical. However, Braun gets out of this by using the rope, and then Sheamus goes for another bro kick. His ribs give out. Braun hits him with a spear. Game over. Braun Breaker retains his Intercontinental Championship, and there you have that. This match was decent. It was kind of solid, but it wasn't better than the Rhea and Nia match, and it wasn't even better than the match that Braun and Sheamus had on Raw like a month and a half, 2 months ago, so there's that. Then you get to the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens contract signing segment. See, another problem we have to discuss with these shows, every single thing that happens on Saturday Night Main Event is simply just put, this is a bland and boring episode of like a Raw or SmackDown. That's all it is. It's a glorified episode of Raw. Like, Jey Uso versus Gunther could have definitely taken place as like a mid-card match on the January 6th Raw Netflix premiere, and Jey Uso probably would have won the title if they had that match take place that night, And that's really all that this is. Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu, the way they booked that match, that could have happened like last week on SmackDown, and it would have had the same impact as it did tonight, So there you have that. But anyways, we're going to get into that all stuff in a second. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens go out to the ring, right? They stare at each other down. Cody actually had a pretty cool entrance. He had like a spot where he was on the ladder doing the whoa, and it have a good shot with the pyro in the back. That was cool. Cody basically gets down to the ring. Kevin Owens and Cody are standing there. Shawn Michaels obviously showed up tonight as well, which was awesome. Great to see a legend. In my opinion, the best in-ring performer of all time in the history of WWE, of course. Kurt Angle obviously is up there, other people like that, but Shawn Michaels is really just truly just one of a kind, man. He's amazing. So it was great to see him out there. However, they get to the actual contract signing. Shawn Michaels basically says, guys, I need you to sign the contract so we can make it to next weekend at Royal Rumble. Basically, Kevin Owens is about to sign the contract, and Kevin Owens basically picks up the mic, right? Kevin Owens is like, you know what? I would sign this contract, but something you said last night on SmackDown really pissed me off. You said I take the easy way out, but you're the one who takes the easy way out because when things got tough, you left the company. You know what I'm saying? You ran away. I stood here and I fought it out and I was trying to win matches and win championships. You know what I'm saying? Cody cuts him off, basically starts yelling. He's like, no one came here to see you, Kevin Owens, and I am done with the disrespect, the gall that you have to disrespect me and Shawn Michaels and come here to Texas to do this and listen to you talk. And that was pretty much that. Cody Rhodes basically signed the contract, told KO to shut up. KO goes to sign the contract again, lifts up the mic, and actually cuts a solid promo. He talks about the fact that, Cody, you don't deserve any of this. Once you came back to the company and you got pushed, they put your face on every ad, every programming, every truck, every production thing. You got your WWE championship, and these are all things with the pyro, everything the fan love. These are things that I should have been having over the last 10 years of my career, which was a good point. It's pretty cool little dynamic they're adding in there. And KO was basically talking about the fact that now once I beat you at Royal Rumble, I'm going to take all these things that have been falsely given to you, and I'm going to give it to me rightfully. So that was a pretty nice moment. Good promo by KO there. Shawn Michaels then calls KO jealous. KO gets pissed off and says that Shawn Michaels is never going to be able to reach the heights that KO's reaching with the Winged Eagle Championship because, Shawn held it, obviously, and KO's like, you're never going to reach the heights that I did, and you're, what's it called? He's like, I'm not the one who lost my smile and then ran away like you did as well, similar to Cody. And then that was pretty much that. that. KO signs the contract, shoves it in Shawn Michaels' face. This sets up a part where KO punches Cody in the mouth, and then Shawn's going to check on him. KO actually puts Shawn Michaels into a pile driver, and I actually thought for a second that he was going to hit the pile driver, but Shawn's too old to be taking that kind of bump, and it's just a dangerous maneuver that's unnecessary. So then you have that situation. Cody super kicks KO, really bad super kick, but it is what it is. Libations. And then Shawn Michaels hits a sweet chin music. Really cool camera angle they gave for him on the sweet chin music. Actually, it kind of like zoomed in. It's like a first person kind of shot. Shawn hits the sweet chin music. Crowd goes crazy. KO falls out of the ring, and then Cody Rhodes and Shawn Michaels stand tall. Cody looks at the championships as they get suspended above the ring, and that's the end of the segment. I really hope that this is the last time that Cody is going to walk out to the ring with the WWE Championship. It's time to give the belt to Kevin Owens, and I'm going to say something that's absolutely may sound insane and may sound egregious. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn for the WWE Championship would be a more interesting and better storyline if booked correctly than like Cody Rhodes versus literally anybody leading into Mania 41, as long as it's not Punk, Roman, or The Rock. That's it. Those are the only three people that actually could make an amazing story if booked correctly with Cody Rhodes. And obviously Randy Orton if he's heel. But if none of those options work out for Cody, I would much rather see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania than see Cody with that belt. I'm not even joking. Because KO is a better storyteller and promo worker than Cody, and so is Sami Zayn. And they're both really good in the ring. They have great chemistry over the last couple decades of them, their careers. I think they would put on a much better match than like Cody Rhodes and like, a 47-year-old Punk or a 40-whatever-year-old Orton or something like that would. It's really just Rock or Roman. If Cody ain't fighting one of them, I would rather see KO and Sami Zayn. It's crazy, but look at this roster. Look at where they're at with the company. You can't give the belt back to Roman necessarily because he just had it for 4 years. You can't really, Cena could win it, which would be cool. Well, I guess so. I doubt that they're going to do that, though, realistically. And then you have what? Gunther's World Championship reign is bad, so no one cares about that. This would be a good feud to have for the belt. If this was a one-off and this was at like some random like Money in the Bank or like Fastlane or Payback, this would totally make sense for Sami to fight KO for that belt, and I would honestly pretty much like it. But that's none of my business. Hot take, I know, but it is the facts. Cody's not as good of a storyteller as either of those people, and quite frankly, KO's a lot better than Cody Rhodes, and he's more interesting right now. I think Kevin Owens needs to win that championship from Cody next weekend at what's it called, at Royal Rumble, and it's that simple. That's the way that I see it. Now, next thing before we get to the Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman situation, we have to talk about this iShowSpeed stuff. iShowSpeed is apparently going to be doing a massive live stream next weekend at the Royal Rumble. He's going to be potentially streaming with different superstars like Roman Reigns, John Cena, Seth Rollins, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, all those kind of people backstage or whatnot. And even he's going to potentially be in gorilla position with Triple H, on the live stream. So this should be fun. It's smart of WWE. This dude has like 30 or 40 million subs, like tens of millions of IG followers. This dude's a social media megastar, right? So this is how you actually can, bring more eyeballs, millions and millions of eyeballs to your product. So that's cool. iShowSpeed getting involved maybe in the Rumble to help out Logan Paul would be fun. Or maybe he helps Logan Paul take that title off of Gunther on Raw. That would also be pretty cool. But, to each their own. Now let's get on to the Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman segment. As I predicted, I said that Jacob Fatu would stand tall after beating the crap out of Braun Strowman or by beating him clean. The option here was for him to beat the crap out of Braun Strowman by basically destroying him. Before the match starts, Tama Tonga basically comes. Dude, Tama Tonga, bro, we're gonna clap it up, man. Tama Tonga is hilarious. He's entertaining. He's awesome. He was able to get over on this yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was really, really funny. The stuff he did before. He comes out, he's like, I got everybody going on this yeah. And then Jacob Fatu basically says, you know what I mean? I'm crazy with it. I'm off the scale with it. I'm off the charts with it. Braun Strowman, you better fit in where you fit in or something like that. You better step in where you fit in. You know what I'm saying? And get behind, because I'm about to go out there and I'm about to break you in half. You know what I'm saying? That's basically the gist of what he's saying. Jacob Fatu brings good intensity. Solid promo segment from Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu. They go out to the ring. This match was incredibly uneventful, right? Let's be honest. The crowd was very bland and very dead for the most part of this until Braun started kind of running around the ring and doing his, his move where he runs out and hits people or whatnot. And then Jacob Fatu countered with a Samoan drop on the table. Braun Strowman goes into the ring. And then Jacob Fatu does that little, the running hip attack that all the Samoan wrestlers do, like Solo and Jay and Jimmy and now Fatu, obviously, the little running attack with the hip in the corner. He just does that, no joke, 8 or 9 times. and then Braun Strowman just starts like bleeding from his mouth or from his nose or whatever. Michael Cole says he has a broken jaw or a broken face, and then the ref calls off the match because the ref like tried to stop Jacob from keep on doing the moves. Jacob basically throws the ref out of the ring. Ref ends the match. Jacob just starts going ham and beating the crap out of Braun Strowman with more hip attacks. Then he hits like 3 moonsaults. Security's all the way out there trying to stop this dude. He leaves the ring. Tama Tonga comes out and I guess encourages him to do it again. He goes back in, hits another moonsault on Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman just left out laid out there and beat down to a pulp. And that's basically the segment. The crowd was giving him a massive, Fatu, Fatu, Fatu. They were all popping for him once he left. So I guess he's super over now as an absolute savage heel. So the goal that they wanted to do, they succeeded with. I don't really care for any of this because realistically, this could have happened on SmackDown or on a random episode of Raw on Netflix, and it wouldn't have changed anything. Literally wouldn't have changed anything at all. The crowd was already behind Fatu as an up-and-coming talent, in WWE specifically. Obviously, he's wrestled outside of WWE, but you get the point. And that's pretty much that. This is like a Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins situation when Bronson Reed came out there and hit like 8 tsunamis, and then Seth Rollins was bleeding out of his mouth. Then I guess Seth disappeared for a month or so, then came back and tried to fight Brunson, and that's pretty much that. That's all this is. Bronson Reed and Jacob Fatu basically had a similar build to them both becoming savage heels. It worked for Bronson Reed, and it looks like it's already worked for Jacob Fatu as well. So, decent stuff here. I mean, it is what it is. It's predictable. Could have happened on SmackDown. It is what it is. Then we get to a boring and bland and mediocre main event with Jay and Gunther. Like I said before, the Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax match was great. The Braun Breaker and Sheamus match was pretty solid. The Cody Rhodes and KO segment was mid, and then the segment with Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman was mid and predictable. And then we had the final match with Jay and Gunther, which honestly borderlines on being below mid to even being bad if you really think about it, right? There's a certain level to this stuff with Gunther that really starts to bother you after a while. When you've witnessed other eras of great wrestling, right? I'm not trying to gatekeep or anything like that, but I'm just saying, right? I've seen like Batista in his prime as the world champion, and I'm not like 40 years old or anything like that. I'm just saying in general. When I was growing up, obviously, I'm 19, so I saw Batista as world champion. I saw Edge. I saw Cena in his prime with his championship reigns, even his U.S. championship reign, Randy Orton's WWE championship reign, Jeff Hardy's short-lived reign. I'm saying I saw all of this stuff, right? And when you look back at that pantheon of world champions, and then you look at your pantheon of world champions in today's day and age, it's disgusting. It generally is. Seth Rollins' world title reign I thought was actually very solid, and it's kind of underrated now that it's done. People are looking back on it with revisionist history because they're realizing how bad the current world title reigns are compared to what he tried to do for the belt. And then obviously, Roman's championship reign was just incredible from start to finish, realistically, and that's pretty much that. But other than that, I mean, these championship reigns, once Roman and Seth lost their belts, there's just been bad. Cody has not passed the torch on with this reign good at all. He's barely defending. He's had, 7 defenses in nearly 300 days, or 6 or 7 defenses. Gunther has not wrestled a match since the last Saturday Night Main Event, which was 7 weeks ago. And now you have a situation, 6 or 7 weeks ago, however long it's been. And now you have a situation where Gunther, who gets to show up once every 6 or 7 weeks and wrestle and do the same moves. Everybody complains that Jey Uso has a situation where it's like Jey only uses the same 4 moves. He only has the same 3 moves. He only does the same moves. I don't care. Gunther only does the same moves. Why don't we bring the same energy for what he's doing? Jey has the same 4 moves. Well, guess what? Gunther has the same 3 moves. So there you have that. Gunther hits his 4 or 5 clotheslines every match. He hits like 4 or 5 power bombs and then does like 15 to 20 chops, and that's it. That's literally it. That's all his moveset is. It's boring, it's bland, and that's why when Gunther does moves, the crowd is largely uninterested. You can just tell, you can hear them. There's no life inside of this dude's moments anymore. When you see Batista going up to those ropes and he's rattling, you know what I'm saying? Randy Orton, he's hitting the mat, boom, 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 getting ready to go for the RKO. John Cena, as much as we've seen the 5 moves of doom from Cena, and he hits the AA, it's like, you're hyped for it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But at this point, Gunther doing the same moves, the crowd doesn't even know that the power bombs are his finisher. He hits the power bombs like 8 times in this match, and no one even reacts to any of them because it's like, is that his finisher? Is that it? That's all this dude has? No hype, no build-up, no intrigue, and he comes out with a reaction that's worse than Jimmy Uso's or Sami Zayn's, for example? You know, it's just embarrassing. Your world champion has no super heat as a heel. He's not great on the mic. He's very boring and bland and overrated in the ring as far as I'm concerned. And on top of that, he's just not a draw. Nobody shows up to a PLE or to a show or to anything to see Gunther. Nobody's buying this dude's merch. Nobody cares what this dude has to do. And that's why I was of the mindset that Jey Uso realistically should have won this championship here. I don't care that Jey cuts generic promos now with this Yeet gimmick. You know, he cut great promos in that feud with Braun Breaker to win that first IC belt. That was a great promo. So, you know, a great build for that feud. So it's possible for him to still cut good promos. He's just choosing to do the Yeet gimmick. And honestly, if it's working with the crowd, he's your most over face arguably, and he's in the prime of this hot streak he's been in. Why would you not just put the world title on him? You know, it's not like you can't find anything for him to do. Worst case scenario, just throw him back in a feud with his own bloodline and have him fight Roman at Mania 41 for the world title. I'd much rather see that than Gunther versus like Seth Rollins or Gunther versus Drew McIntyre or like Gunther versus Sheamus for the world title, man. Like nobody wants to see John Cena win his 17th championship in a feud with Gunther. What is Gunther going to say to John Cena? You know what I'm saying? John Cena is the greatest of all time. What is Gunther going to tell this dude that's really going to beat him on the mic? Nothing. You know, like, look, what are we talking about here, you know? It's very ridiculous what they're doing with Gunther, and the fact that he won this match means he's going to hold the title hostage at least until WrestleMania, and we have to live with this and accept this now. It is what it is. You know, and I thought that the in-ring work rate was just mediocre. You know, like I said, Jey and Gunther only have like 4 or 5 moves max in their arsenals, so this just didn't match up. You know, they tried to have a moment like a 2-minute sequence where Jey just got a bunch of finishers off on Gunther, and you know, a bunch of false finishes where Gunther kept kicking out of these signature moves from Jey Uso, and the crowd kind of got into it and thought that, you know, maybe Jey would win. But for the large majority, it was just predictable, boring wrestling, a boring Gunther classic, as one would say, you know. So it didn't hit. This match didn't hit. I thought it was a very bad main event level, world championship level match. You know, it isn't going to work, man. Gunther's championship reign is it's honestly been past its last legs. It's over. He barely shows up to work. He barely wrestles. You know, he wrestles once every 6 or 7 weeks in a predictable match and then has the audacity to come out and say he's the best. How are you the best if you're not proving you're the best by going out there and performing to the best of your abilities and wrestling consistently? You know, how are you the best but you can't go out there and be even better than Jey Uso on the mic? You're the best, but you lost to Sami Zayn. You know, you're the best, but Sami Zayn's better than you at literally every aspect of being a pro wrestler. Why doesn't Sami Zayn have the world title? Why doesn't Braun Breaker go get the world title? You know, why doesn't Carmelo Hayes go get the world championship? All these people I'm listing are more talented than Gunther and are better at literally everything, but they're straddled down with either being a mid-carder or an undercard jobber. You know? The booking here doesn't work and it doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, Gunther ended up winning this match. He countered Jey Uso's spear and hit him with like a couple power bombs after Jey had hit like multiple splashes and spears. And it's just like, dude, you know, like who cares about this anymore? You know, I'm so done with this championship reign, and it really is demoralizing. And it was a really bad way to end the show, letting us know that we're going to have to sit here for at least 3 to 4 more months of this championship reign, man. Very, very bad ending to the show. Predictable, bland. Crowd wasn't super into this match. The crowd during Jey Uso's entrance wasn't super into it either. This just wasn't a great crowd. Sorry, San Antonio, but you weren't cooking tonight, man. And, you know, it is what it is. We have to, you know, just accept these things and respect them at the end of the day. You know, I have no respect for Gunther's championship reign, quite frankly, but, you know, we're going to have to sit with it for 3 more months of just straight boredom and bland wrestling with the same moves over and over again as he holds the title hostage and disrespects the name of all-time greats who have held that belt in the past. So, yeah, Saturday night main event, bland, boring, empty, predictable, and awful. Those are really the only ways to describe this. I can't give this PLE less than like a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. It's not even a PLE, whatever, a special programming, whatever you want to call it. I can't give it less than a 3 or a 4 out of 10, I suppose, because, I mean, the Braun Breaker and Sheamus match was pretty solid. The Rhea Ripley match and Nia Jax was also very good. It was a very good match. And, you know, outside of that, everything else was either mid or below mid or awful. So I would give this show a solid 5 out of 10, I guess, or a 4.5. It's like a 4 or 5. You know, it's like F to D tier. It's bottom level content, man. You could have easily gotten away with not watching it. That's how you can dictate the quality of the show being absolutely meaningless and jobber garbage. Let me know your thoughts on Saturday Night Main Event in the comment section below. It wasn't good in my opinion, but hey, maybe you enjoyed it. With that being said, get ready for this week. The Royal Rumble next weekend is either going to be very great or it's going to be very bad, and we're going to be talking about that throughout the week. So without further ado, that's going to wrap it up for your boy. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a phenomenal day, and as always, peace out. One love.